Chocolate female plugs, Kanye shrug, hitting numbers that matter.
Thank you for tuning to the Black Fathers Initiative of Cleveland. Make sure you click the link in the bio, like, subscribe. You know what to do. Click that thumbs up button and that notification bell so you know when we drop new content. So, Dr. Umar Johnson, you know he's one of my favorite activists. Right now, he has an interview about why black men and black women don't get along. And this should be very interesting. This will be my first time hearing it. This just dropped recently, so I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I'm going to be listening to it for the first time, hopefully with you. And like I stated, I'm going to jump in and out, you know, if I have anything to add to what he's saying. But yeah, let's get to it.
It's going to be a conversation I want to have with you regarding why black men and black women do not get along. Obviously, this is a very big topic in our community and around the world as we make a fool of ourselves, broadcasting our internal relationship and community conflict issues with the entire universe. But every YouTube page, every major social network conversation, every television show, at least some of the time is dedicating some of its content and conversation to this topic of male-female relationships. So I want to talk about why don't black men and black women get along. This is just part one. There will be others, but I want to go ahead and dive into it.
This might be a 10-parter shit.
And these are not in any particular order, but number one, we are disagreeable to a fault. Black people do not like to honor other black people. We do not like to respect other black people. We do not like to show compassion to other black people because we were conditioned, engineered, all right, and brainwashed into believing that if it ain't white, it ain't right. So why do I have to respect black people when white people have told me I don't have to? Most of us are internalized Europeans, and we have been internalized Europeans for at least 400 years. And I would argue that the internalization of European consciousness within the African mind has only intensified over the past 157 years since the passage of the 13th Amendment. So we are more European now than we were during the Civil War. So the biggest reason black men and women can't get along is because we don't want to get along. Let me say that again. The biggest reason why black men and women don't get along is because we don't want to get along. Black people, period, don't believe that we are obligated to show respect to other Africans. Now, we often try to separate the black male-female relationship crisis from the general black community crisis. You cannot take black male-female relationships into a vacuum away from the larger condition and circumstance in which they take place. Black churches are dysfunctional inside and between each other.
Facts.
They are poorly organized.
Facts.
They are only organized on the superficial level, and they're definitely not organized to bring any meaningful change to black America. You look at black men, disorganized, black women disorganized, ex-offenders disorganized. And let us be clear, the root cause of our disorganization is our contempt for one another. You can't organize with somebody you think you're better than. You can't organize with someone you think is less than you. You can't organize with someone whose life and opinions you don't value, because what would be the point? So you have to understand, black men and black women come together out of necessity, more so than honor and obligation. I want to say that again. Black men and black women come together more out of necessity for the relationship,
that's heavy.
As
that's
opposed to honor and obligation
and that's
to
real
black
talk.
culture. In other words,
talk.
we want to have sex, we want to have kids, we want somebody to go to sleep with, we want somebody to spend time with. We have a need for the opposite sex. You understand me? We have a need. We have emotional needs that need to be met. We have social needs that need to be met. We have sexual needs that need to be met. So men and women, black men and women, are coming together because they need each other for their own personal needs. This is important to understand. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you're coming together exclusively to get your needs met and there's no greater mission to be accomplished, there's no greater obligation for which you're seeking out this relationship, then it's likely going to fail because it's based on selfishness. Selfishness is the heart and soul of black romantic relationship dysfunction. So number one, we are disagreeable because we want to be. We don't like other black people, but we need other black people. You can liken a black relationship to a black business. Black businesses need black customers because white folks are not going to shop from them. Arabs are not going to shop from them. Okay? East Indians, Mexicans, they're not going to patronize the black business. Black businesses need black customers, but that don't mean they like them. We go into black businesses all the time, but we can tell they really don't care about us. They just want our money. It's the same thing with the relationship. That man you're with may not really care about you. He just wants that honey. That woman you're with may not really care about you. She just wants your money. You understand? So let's be clear about this. We are in relationships not to help the other person. A lot of us are in the relationship to what? Get our own selfish needs met. We could care less about the other person's needs. So number one, we are disagreeable because we want to. Number two, a big reason for black relationship dysfunction is what I call the plantation principle. And the plantation principle basically says your mate's income dictates their value. This is something we learn from the plantation. This is something we learned from America's dysfunctional economic capitalist system. In this country, in the European paradigm, your worth as a human being is based on your education, your occupation, your income. This is totally contrary to African culture, where the life of the rich man is equal to the life of the homeless man. There's no difference in life because they all come from God and they have equal value. But in the European paradigm, your worth is dependent. Your value as a human being is based on your income, your occupation, your education. Black people have swallowed this. We have swallowed this. And as a result of this, a lot of black women cannot find good mates because you're looking at income first. Income is a priority for you. And as a result of that, you're missing out on dozens of available good black men. Black men the same way. We're looking at women or looking for women who can either care for us or can match our income. Okay, we don't want a so-called gold digger. We don't want a woman who we got to take care of. We want someone who is financially equal to ourselves. And the reason finances is at the top of the list is because we have brought into the capitalist idea that a person's value is based on how much money they bring home in their paycheck. Very dysfunctional, especially from an African-centered perspective, but this is where we are.
I would say that's more for men than it is for women, because women, in my opinion, and you can drop a comment if you disagree, but in my opinion, most men don't care how much a woman makes. And I don't care how much that man makes. That man can make $40,000 a year. Unless he's literally out there looking for a woman to take advantage of, most good men don't care how much money a woman makes. A lot of times it's the woman that comes into the situation with the competition mentality, or with the, I make more than you mentality, so I can do certain things, or I can act a certain way. I see that more with women than I do with men. And probably because I know more women making more money than black men than I know black men making more money than black women. So
People's worth is dependent on how much money they make. Okay? So that's a very big issue right there. We have to get out of the plantation principle. Slavery valued us on how much we could earn for the slave master. This is why I call it the plantation principle. Slavery valued us for how much we could earn for the slave master, for the plantation. We took that principle upon which our entire experience and existence as enslaved Africans was based. We took that principle and we now use it in our relationships. And so when you meet a man, when you meet a woman, you're sizing them up income-wise. How much money do they have? How much potential for making money do they have? Now, many of you are going to say, but wait a minute, Doc, we live in a capitalist society. Life costs, raising children costs. It costs money to live. It absolutely does cost money to live, but there's levels of living. There's levels of living, and many of us want to live at the tippity top level, and we're looking for someone who can help get us there. So we are basically putting our partners on an auction block to see which one of them is most likely to help us deliver the American dream. The plantation principle, income determines a person's value. Income determines the person's life value. Very dysfunctional, but it's a big reason why Black relationships fail. Number 3, selfishness. You are here to serve my purpose, not your own. Selfishness is very important because a lot of us, as I said earlier, in principle number 1, we're disagreeable because we want to, but a lot of us are only in that relationship, like I said, to get our needs met. We don't care about the sanctity.
I want to go back to we're disagreeable because we want to. And I just want to touch on that right quick because, once again, I'm a single man. I'm out here dating. And I had a conversation with a young lady recently. And, we were talking about marriage and if she moved and things of that nature. And she was talking about her job and how her job was so important to her and how, she liked her job and things of that nature. And the conversation or the question that I asked her, and I'm like, well, would you rather, get up and go work for somebody else and make them $1 million, or would you rather get up and go and work for yourself and make yourself $1 million? And it was to the point where she literally kept going back and forth with me about this, pretty much saying in so many words that, no, I'd rather go and work for somebody and make them $1 million than work for myself and make $1 million. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there's a lot of people out there who feel this way. Like, I'd rather just go to work and do my 9 to 5, and I don't care how much my boss makes. I'm just gonna take my money home and be satisfied with that and be cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking that. But if you're having a conversation with me, and I'm telling you, or I'm pretty much showing you and letting you know, like, which if I'm asking you which way is the smarter way to go, which would be the more, plausible thing to do, which would be the more smarter thing to do, go to work for somebody else and make them money, or work for yourself and make your own money. So we were literally in pretty much an argument about this because she's saying that, I'd rather go to work than work for myself and make my own money. And I'm not trying to change her mind, but I am trying to get her to understand where I'm coming from. And the conversation was so, because I literally during the conversation I said, like, you just want to disagree with me, like you just don't want to agree with what I'm saying, because it's not about you have to do it. I'm not saying you got to go and do this, but I am saying which one sounds smarter to you, which one sounds like the more ethical thing to do, the more the most beneficial thing to do for you. Do you think the most beneficial thing for you is going to work for somebody else and making them money? Or would the most beneficial thing for you be to work for yourself and make your own money? You know what I'm saying? So it like I said, I literally had to tell her, like, you're just arguing with me and disagreeing with me just to be disagreeable, because there's no way that you can sit back and say that going to work and making somebody else millions is a better option than you making your